Paschus of our learning. Shaf the Beis Hamikdash, and it should be a panacea. Also, for Shlema for Yechiel Nasim B'Msara. Let's start. It's the mamash, the bottom line of Memala on the page. Rabbi Yossi Yom Tov. The Rabbi Yossi tells us that if someone carried the lulav on Shabbos in Rosh Hashanah, which that's Issa D'Oraisa, so he's exempt from the chiyuvim, of whatever would be, which would be kares. He's exempt from that. Kares would be the mezid, and b'shegi would be a chapas. He's exempt from those obligations. Why? Because he was involved in a mitzvah. Rabbi Yossi Yom Tov, Amar Abaye says, very interesting point. What's this exemption over here? It's exemption because he's trying to fulfill a mitzvah. And he happened to do an avera while he's trying to fulfill the mitzvah. But if he had already fulfilled the mitzvah, so the mitzvah doesn't really continue after. Once you put the lulav and esrog together, then you're done. So now we already did the mitzvah. So that exemption of that you do an avera while you're trying to do a mitzvah doesn't apply anymore because you already fulfilled the mitzvah. There's a big discussion about is there any mitzvah? Does the mitzvah continue? Like we said before, we learned yesterday that they would go to shul, they would carry the lulav, and they would go here, and they would carry the lulav, but what are they doing? I mean, once you put it together, you're done. You touch it, you touch the lulav and esrog, and then it's over. Does the mitzvah continue? Is it that's the question. Is it more of a mitzvah to do it more times? Yeah, we're saying from our Gemara that it's not. Because if it would be more of a mitzvah, they say, well, you're Isaac the mitzvah and ta b'dvar mitzvah, right? You made a mistake while you're in the middle of doing a mitzvah. Anyway, over here we see that the mitzvah does not continue. The Gemara asks, 1 second. How can you even have this discussion that it's only if you didn't fulfill the mitzvah yet? That's when you're going to have this exemption. But if you fulfill the mitzvah or not, it's impossible. Because Hamida Agba and Nafat Pay. How are you carrying the lulav? Obviously, you're lifting it up. So you'll never be able to carry a lulav into Rosh Hashanah and not be Yaitz the mitzvah. Because right when you lift it up, right when you carry it, you're already Yaitz. So the first second was already Yaitz. Before I type this. Let's get the Gemara's answers and we'll see. It's an answer from Abaye and an answer from Rava. Amar Abaye kishahafai. You turned it over. That's with a minhag. Some people, they turn over the esrog until after the bracha, then they turn it back. You're not yaitzu when it's not derech gedilasai. Rashi says over here, you're turning over the lulav, holding the lulav up, but I guess the same point, the same thing would be going on. That you're not yaitzu. Rava says, you took it out, it was in its bag. It was in a keli. You're not yaitza like that. The Gemara says, 1 second. But Rava holds that we had this discussion before. Can you hold it in a sudar? Can you hold it in a handkerchief? Are you still yaitza? That was a discussion if you had another sort of wrap for it, and you didn't grab the actual lulav. Rava said that you were yaitza. Gemara says hanimil derech kavod aval derech bezayin lai. Over here, you were carrying it in a way of bezayin. You put it on a plate. That wasn't the way. Over there, it was some sort of fancy wrap that was around it that was acceptable. Okay. Taisus asked a very interesting question. It says that Rava holds mitzvah sein tzrichas kavana, that you yaitza the mitzvah without intention. Abaye holds that you're not yaitz. And Abaye has a lot of questions on Rava and the Gemara Shoshana and other places also. Abaye asks Rava, Abaye holds Mrs. Shichas Kavana, and he asks a lot of questions. Now, if that's the case, according to Abaye, the Gemara has no issue here. But once you picked it up, he yaitz. No, I'm not yaitz until I have Kavana. Yeah, the whole Gemara, according to Abaye, is not a question. Taisva says that I know that Abaye asked Rav a lot of questions, which seems to be that Abaye holds mitzvah strichas kavana. But it could be that after that discussion, Abaye accepted Rava's opinion, and Abaye now holds mitzvahs ain't strichas kavana, and that's why Abaye doesn't mention anything here. Yeah, that's really strange because that would come out. Let me see what they say in the end. There's this Piskei Teisus. So let me see if they quote this. Yeah. The Piskei Teisus was written by the Rosh. And then there's the Rosh, wrote the Rosh, of course. And then there's the Kitzer Piskei Rosh, which is written by the Torah. But the Kitzer Piskei Teisus, this little page in the back, right in the back of the Gemara. He says, mitzvah saying tzrichas kavana, divra maskal amar Abaye. Takes out of our taisvas that mitzvahs don't require kavana. Why? Because even in the machlekes Abaye and Rava, we would anyways call it Rava, it doesn't matter. But if there would be a very strong support, maybe. Whatever the case is, we see from here that even Abaye holds mitzvah saying tzrichas kavana. Okay. Amar Rav Huna. Rav Huna says, Omer Haya Rabbi Yaisi would say, Oila Saif Shenimtzas Bein Agapayim, and Oila Saif. You see, there's two types of bird sacrifices. There's a Chata Saif and an Oila Saif. The Chata Saif is burnt. Is eaten. Oila Saif is burnt. Yeah, Oila Saif. Remember when we gave the simon? The blood is I don't know if it's sprinkled or squeezed out on the top of the chuta sikra. There was a line that went around the mizbeach, and the oila sa'if, oila is up and oif is up. The chata sa'if was done on the other side of the mizbeach, on the bottom, beneath the chuta sikra. Yeah, then the chatas behema was back on the top, and the other behema was back on the bottom. So it's like crisscross how this works. The other safe is not eaten. The chatas safe is yes eaten. So if someone found an oila saif amongst other birds, that's a Rashi translates agapayim. Now, what's it doing with the other birds? Usually, it's done. The chatas was done on the south side of the mizbeach. Southwest, and the oila was on the northwest side of the mizbeach. I'm sorry, the southeast and southwest. They're done on different sides of the mizbeach. Anyway, but it turns out that if the southeast was too full, they would go to the other side. So whatever the case is, you find these birds amongst there's a pile of birds that need to be eaten because of chata saif. Turns out turns out that it really wasn't a chata saif, really wasn't oila saif, but he ate it. Why? He was trying to do the mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to eat the karbanos before they spoil, not spoil physically, but spoil spiritually. There's a time limit on when it's supposed to be eaten. So he's pater. He's exempt. Why? Because he's taught at bar mitzvah. He was trying to do the mitzvah of eating a chata saif. Nebuch. He ate an oila saif. Gemara says, "My kamash balon the tabit bar mitzvah pater. Hainaha, Rav Huna, what are you telling me? That Rabbi Yaisi holds tabit bar mitzvah is pater? He said already, if you carry a lulav on Shabbos, that you pater. You don't have to go through the whole Torah, giving me another more and more examples. You're not telling me any chiddush. There's absolutely no difference between this case and that case." Gemara says, no, there is a big difference. Because Mao the time I could have thought, Hasam who the tab bidvar mitzvah pater haino david mitzvah. Aval hachad the tab bidvar mitzvah layavad mitzvah malai. You see, sometimes a person makes a mistake, and he made a mistake, but he did a mitzvah. What happened by the lulav? He carried the lulav into the Rosh Hashanah, but he wanted to be yaitza. So he went to the chacham, let's say, to teach him how to shake the lulav. So he wasn't supposed to carry it. But the fact is, it was in a time when they fulfilled the mitzvah of lulav on Shabbos. It was the first day of Yom Tov, and it was in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. And he was fulfilled the mitzvah. But over here, what did he do? He ate an oila sa'if. There's no mitzvah. You didn't do any mitzvah. You made a mistake about it, but you didn't end up accomplishing anything. So it's a totally different story. There's nothing to show for the mistake. So I could have thought that maybe over there is chayim. So Kamash Malan, that's Rabbi Yossi holds that a tab b'dvar mitzvah, even if he doesn't show anything for it, is still pater. Yeah, places adds over here something interesting. Says that there's another girsa. The other girsa says that over there by the lulav, it was an obligation on me to perform the mitzvah. By the Oila Sa'id, anyone could have performed the mitzvah. It didn't have to be me. Someone's supposed to eat it, but it doesn't have to be me. So I could have said that, so why do you get involved? You don't know, just stay away. First, do no harm, right? But Kamash Malan, that you were attempting to do something correct, is still popular. Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of that CPR joke. This person went to a CPR course, and on his way home, he's all like into it. He sees someone laying on the floor on the street, so runs over. He starts to do compressions. The guy says, "Can you please let me go? I'm talking to my friend in the manhole. Down there was a worker, a city worker." So yeah, he was trying to do something good, but it was pointless. Okay. Meisvei. Rabbi Yossi Aimer, Asheicher Asatamid, She'ina Mevuker, Kel Chosei B'Shabbos, Chayav Chatos, B'Tzarech Tamid Acher. The covered tamid needs to be examined 4 days before it's offered. Make sure there's no blemish, no mum. So someone comes along, he takes from the animals there that were prepared, he takes one of the animals. Turns out that animal wasn't prepared. So over here it says, Rabbi Yossi says, it's chayav chatas. Shechted an animal on Shabbos. It's one of the malachas on Shabbos, and it wasn't a kosher sacrifice. Tzarech tamid acher. You need another tamid. Problem with this is that Rabbi Yossi holds that if you're trying to do a mitzvah, you should be exempt. Amar lei, so they responded to Rabbi Yossi. They didn't respond to Rabbi Yossi. They responded to this question that's being asked on Rabbi Yossi. Bar minei dahi. Don't bar minei. It means exclude that price. Don't ask from that one. Why? The Itmar Allah. On that price it was said that Rav Shmuel bar Chitoy, Amar Rav Hamnuna Saba, Amar Rav Yitzchak Parashian, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, yeah. Basically, what we've been saying over here is that there's no malpractice lawsuits when someone was trying to do the right thing. That's what we're saying. Turns out it's not 100% correct. It had to have been the type of mistake that's an acceptable mistake. We understand why you made that mistake. But if it's a blatant negligence, then that's unacceptable. So here we're saying that he took the korban from a room that none of the animals there were checked. If you took it from a room, the animals, you went to the wrong room. That's unacceptable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very interesting Gemara over here. That I could have thought that the fact that you check the korban tamid 4 days beforehand is just to make sure that it doesn't have a mum. If I didn't check it and it didn't have a mum, I'd be fine. Because the whole point was just to make sure. It turns out that he shechted it, and it turned out it didn't have a mum either. But it just wasn't checked. It's still possible. Yeah, they learned from Psukim, places quotes this. They learned from Psukim, from Xer Shabbat, that it needs to be checked. If it's not checked, you can't use it. Even though it has no mum. Yeah, interesting piece. Because they should be clean. Right. Yeah, there's always a question about these type of things. Is it just to make sure that there's nothing wrong, or does it become a halakha in itself? There's a very interesting discussion about a veses. In Hilchos Nida, there's anticipated days when she would see. So then there's in Shulchan Aruch it talks about if someone makes a mistake and they together with his wife on a veses, but she didn't. There was no dam. So is that the same halacha like made a mistake if she's a nida, which is very serious? Shulchan Aruch says, tshuva and whatever. Or that was just an anticipation, and if nothing happens, so nothing happens. It's fine. It's sort of like this. The point was to check if there's a mum. There's no mum, so it doesn't always work like that. Okay, the next Mishnah says, "Mekabelas isha miyad b'no miyad baila." Yeah, we're getting a lot of halachas thrown into like one sentence over here. There's a shaila if a lulav is muktzah. Well, on Shabbos, during the time of the Beis Hamikdash, you would shake the lulav. If it's the first day, of course, not the rest of not the rest of the first day when it was a deraisa. So for the men, it's not muktzah. But what about the women? They're not chayav in lulav. Is it muktzah for them? What we're learning here is possibly 2 points. One point is that if it's not muktzah for the man, then it's not muktzah at all. Women are allowed to handle a lulav. It's not muktzah for the men. Another possible point is that if women want to, they're able to fulfill the mitzvah, so it's not muktzah. Which one is the stronger one? The way it's put is that because it's not muktzah for the men, it's not muktzah for the women. Yeah, does that apply across the board? I don't know. Let's say something like glasses or something, or someone that needs glasses, someone that doesn't. So what's the point? But probably not. If it becomes a keli, see, you can't touch something that's not a keli. But if it's a keli for one person, then it becomes a keli, and that's it. There could be exceptions to this. The other thing is that you're allowed to return it on Shabbos to water to keep it fresh. Rabbi Yehuda says that on Shabbos you can return it to the water. On Yom Tov you can even add water, and on Chol Hamoed you can change the water for new water. When you change the water, you get put in cold water. It's supposed to keep it even fresher. That you can do. Now we have a discussion here about at what age do we start to train the children? What's age appropriate for chinuch? So once a child knows how to shake the lulav, so then he does the mitzvah. We train him to do the mitzvah. The Gemara starts off pshita. Of course, a woman can take the lulav from her son or from her husband It says, Mal, the Temail Vishalab Baschiyuvi, like the Kabbalah. I could have thought that maybe it's Mukta. Because she's not obligated, Kamash Malan, that it's not Mukta. A child that knows how to shake the lulav, so you start to train him. He's chayav b'lulav. Taner Rabbanan, start in a brisa. This is a very interesting brisa. What basically comes out is that mitzvah chinuch is applied when the child can perform the mitzvah properly. I mean, I could hold the lulav and the esrog and let the baby, like rattle it like that. But the baby doesn't know how to do it fully. Doesn't know to shake which directions, and by halal, he doesn't know that. So when does the mitzvah chinuch, even just to put the lulav and esrog together, that only comes when the child knows how to do it fully, then we start to train him. When he can do the complete mitzvah, that's when you start to train him. So katna yedeya lenaneya chay b'lulav, le'satev chay b'tzitzis. When he knows how to wrap himself in tzitzis, I mean, you could put tzitzis on a baby, but the baby doesn't know how to put it on. Once the child knows how to put it on, I think it says even in other places, he knows how to take them together to kiss them by Shema. I think that's when he's chayav in tzitzis. No, he would have to know how to do it fully. That's when he has the what's next? Lishmar tefillin. When he knows how to guard his tefillin. Yeah, that means that he won't walk into the bathroom wearing his tefillin. So then, aviv lekech like tefillin, the father buys him tefillin. We didn't mention before that the father buys him the lulav, the father buys him the tzitzis. It's only by the tefillin, I guess, because it's expensive. So, also, you can't make tefillin on your own. That's a lulav and esrog you can get on your own. You cut it off the tree. And the tzitzis you can make on your own. You just put the strings in the hole and tie a knot, 2 knots, whatever. It's not a big deal. Yedeya ledaber, once the child can speak, aviv loimdei Torah, the Kriya Shema. The father teaches him Torah and Kriya Shema. Kriya Shema, we know what that is. But once he knows how to speak Torah, what Torah does he teach him? Amar Rav Hamnuna, Torah tziva lanu Moshe Merash Kilas Yaakov. You teach him to recite that pasuk. Yeah, the first pasuk of the 12th pasuk. Yeah. In Parshas B'Zayis Bracha, I took it from the 12th pasuk. So, someone said, was learning Shir Hashirim. Says, I can't believe this. Someone went through the whole Likutei Torah and collected all the psukim and put them into this. He knew the psukim from Likutei Torah. So, Kriya Shema Mahi. What is about Kriya Shema? So it says pasuk Rishon. That's the first pasuk. Do you get what's going on here? The fact is, I don't know if he knows how to understand the Torah. He's a child, but he knows how to talk. And there's a mitzvah. Part of the mitzvah of Torah is speaking Torah. So you're training him in the speaking of Torah, which is psukim, and Kriya Shema, which is the first pasuk. If someone can guard his body, this means that he's not going to touch things. That is, the baby goes around and touches everything. And you pull dead creatures out of his hand because he doesn't know what is. It's crawling on the floor. Once he knows not to touch things, so then you can so al gufay taris. Then you can accept that he didn't touch taris, or if he did touch taris, that he didn't make them tummy. Lishmar as yadav, if he knows how to guard his hands. How is this more? I guess it means that he washes his hands. So then, Eichlan al yadav taris. Then you can eat taris that he touched. So what was before al kufay? I guess if his body touched the taris, now if his hand touched the taris. Haydei lishal, if someone can answer a question or to ask, He knows how to answer a question if they ask him. So then, no, it's not just that they trust the answer. The way it works is that we learn from Saita that if there's a doubt, if something is tummy, so it depends where the location was when the doubt took place. If it was in a private area, then it's tummy. If it's in a public area, then it's tug. But that's only if there was a human involved in it. Not if an animal dragged something across and there was no one involved. There had to be someone that you were able to have. Now, let's say there was a child that was involved. And he took taras from one place to another, and there was sherets in that area. The question is, did the child cross the sherets so it depends. If it was a private area, then it's going to be tummy. But that would be, and if it's a public area, then it would be tar. But that would only be, I think it would be tahar only if he's able to say, if you're able to ask the child. Now, what does he answer? He answers, I don't know. But that's a doubt. And we consider that a real doubt. And that sort of doubt we say is tar. Okay. If he knows how to duchen. So then, chalkan like truma based agronis, you can already give him truma. Yeah, you can give him truma in the base agronis. That means in the by the threshing floor. Hayedea lishchay, someone that knows how to shech. Now, this doesn't mean that he knows hilchos shchita. This means that he knows how to move his hand with the knife. So, you can eat from mishchita. Even though we didn't learn hilchos shchita, it's not a bucky. That's only if someone is standing over him and watching him. It has to be, what is that? Supervision. Yeah, under supervision. Yachal lechol kazayas dagan. Once the child can eat a kazayas of grain, then his diaper already becomes smelly. And so you have to move 4 amas away if you want to daven or something. The baby's diapers are not so smelly. Yeah, I think there's like a difference if they nurse their eating formula, but the Gemara doesn't get into that. Once they eat grain, then it becomes smelly and it becomes like regular things that you have to distance yourself from when you want to daven. That's only if he eats it in the time that it takes to eat a kazayas. Well, to eat a achilas pras. He's eating a kazayas in the time it takes an adult to eat a half a loaf of bread. Yeah. We had it before. It's okay as well. Amar Rav Chia Breder Rav Yeva Begadol Af B'Shein Yachol Lechol B'Achilas Pras. If it's an adult that for whatever reason can't eat, by him it's the same halacha, even though he can't eat it. In other words, it doesn't matter. It's still you still have to distance. Why? Because he has understanding. So also his waist would smell. Yeah, increase knowledge and increase machir is like agony, but here it means that it smells. Yachal lechal kazayas tzli. Once he can eat a kazayas of roasted meat, then sheichten alavas pesach. Then you can check the korban pesach. Now you have to remember that the korban pesach was roasted. Sometimes a child can eat applesauce, a kazayas of applesauce, but he can't eat a kazayas of tzli. Roasted meat is more tough. So he can't be part of the group. But, you divide up the group for the korban pesach. Who can be part of that group, and how it's divided is only someone that can eat a kazayas. It says a man according to his eating. That's how it's divided. Rabbi Yehuda, he has to be able to take the food from the waste. He has to be able to look at the pile and take out what he wants, take what he wants and take out what he doesn't want. Okay. What is Rabbi Yehuda referring to? Is Rabbi Yehuda referring to when you can shecht for him? That's what it seems like. He could discern between what's waste and what's food. Okay. Okay, now we start the new parak. It's very interesting. This whole parak that we just learned was all about the lulav and the esrog. You know, what's considered the lulav, what's considered an esrog, and how it's tied, and all of that. Now we start discussion about what's done on Shabbos. That's how it starts. And then it talks about simple space of sheva, which that's like automatically a follow-up. It says lulav arava shisha v'shiva. The lulav and the arava means the hishanas. That's done either 6 days or 7 days. The Gemara is going to explain that it depends. If the first day falls on Shabbos, then it's done 7 days. But if the first day falls out on some other day of the week, and then Shabbos is going to be in the middle of in the intermediate days, Sukkot, then you're not going to take the lulav on Shabbos. And if that's the case, then it's only going to be 6 days. And with Hoshana Rabbah, the Gemara is going to explain exactly the opposite. That if not the first day falls on Shabbos, but if Hoshana Rabbah falls on Shabbos, then it's going to be 7 days. Because they instituted that you should take the Hoshanas on Shabbos. But if Hoshana Rabbah is on a weekday, and one of the other days is on Shabbos, then you don't take the Hoshanas on that day. It's only 6 days. Halal v'asimcha shmeina. Halal, reciting halal, and simcha, which is eating the meat of the shlamim, that's always 8 days. That is not affected by Shabbos. Sukkah v'nisach hamayim, sitting in the sukkah, in the pouring of the water, is shiva. It's always 7 days. It's also not affected by Shabbos. Hachalil, the playing of the flute, which that was the celebration of the simple space of Sheva, that's Chamisha v'Shisha. That's either 6 days, 5 days or 6 days. It's not 7 days because it doesn't start on the first night. There's no simple space of Sheva the first night because it's not Leicha Yamta. You don't have it on Yamta. So it can only start the second night. Then the second night of Shabbos, then you don't have it then either. Right? So it's when would it be if Shabbos is the first day of Yom Tov? So then you get both of the things that would knock it off all together, then you would have 6 days left. Okay, now the Gemara goes to explain, and then the following Mishnayos will explain each one of these. Starts off with the first thing that we mentioned. It says, Lulav Shiva Ketzah. What would be the case where the Lulav is 7 days? Yom Tov Rishon Shechali is b'Shabbos. If Sukkot falls out on Shabbos, this year it's, I think, a Sunday night, right? Yeah. This year it's a Sunday night. Is 1 second. Rosh Hashanah is Sukkot the same? Is Sukkot the same as Rosh Hashanah? Yeah, it's the same as Rosh Hashanah, right? And then Simchas Torah and Shmini Atzeres is the same as Sukkot. Sunday night. The whole thing is Sunday night, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's say Yom Tov Rishon Shechali is b'Shabbos. Let's say it would have fallen on Friday night. It would fall on Shabbos. So Lulav Shiva. Then you would take the Lulav for all 7 days. B'Shar Kol Hayamim. But let's say it was on the first day, it was on a different day of the week, or Shabbos was a different day of Sukkot, then it would only be Shisha. Araba Shiva Ketzad, how is it that you take the Hishanas 7 days? It says Yom Shvi Shel Araba Shchalias b'Shabbos, then Araba Shiva. If Hishana Rabba falls on Shabbos, then it's 7 days. B'Shar Kol Hayam, then it's only Shisha. If it falls on another day, then it's only 6 days. Mitzvah Lulav Ketzad. How was the lulav done? We're asking, how was it done on Shabbos? So it says, Yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag Shechalis b'Shabbos. If Sukkot falls on Shabbos, then Melichin es lulaveim laharabayas. Everyone would bring the lulav to the harabayas before Shabbos. V'chazonim mekablamim. The chazan is the shamash. They had people in charge, the guys that run around with keys. They would take the lulav. The people that do the arrangements, they tell people stand over here, go over there, all of those. So v'chazanim mekablamim b'seijin meisa gabiyetz, but they put it on. It's supposed a platform. The elders had a different, the VIP. They had a different place where they kept it. They didn't want to get pushed around and all of that. It's going to be chaotic. So they would teach everyone to say, yeah, you hear this? You may end up with someone else's lulav. Just like, my grandmother told me about putting the cholent in the baker's oven Friday afternoon. And then on Shabbos, you would end up possibly with someone else's cholent. The children would go to because the baker had the oven. So the children would go after Musaf, they would go and bring the cholent home. But they would take the pot, and it wasn't always their cholent. Anyway, yeah. So, and then with someone else's hat. So, thank you. So over here, there's a problem, because if it's not your lulav, you're not yet to the mitzvah. So you would tell everyone to say, I'm just saying how you would exchange. Oh, cholent to yaitza. But if it's someone else's lulav, so it would be a problem. So what do? You would tell everyone that was there to say that whoever gets my lulav, it's his as a gift. That way, it's good for you. It's good for everyone else. But the one that you have, so you're hoping that everyone said the statement, and you're yaitza. You definitely said it, and the other guy that has yours is yaitza. But you're hoping that the other people said the statement as well. The following day, which is Shabbos morning, mashkim in a barn, they would come to shul. Those fellas that were, arranging everyone, you put it over here, all of that they took the lulav before. They put them down just on the platform. Now they just take them and they throw them to the people. They would grab them. This is not a good idea, because first of all, the lulavim, they poke you, and that's just not not the way to do it. It said, people would start to hit each other. That's my lulav. People saw that this was getting dangerous. The Bezdin saw it's getting dangerous. Take the lulav at home on Shabbos. The first day, you yaitz the mitzvah the first day. Yeah, later on, after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, then we stopped doing the lulav on Shabbos. But originally, the lulav was done on Shabbos. We'll see. This Gemara is going to discuss. I want to ask straight away. That in the Beis Hamikdash, the lulav was done all 7 days, not just the first day. The question is, so why don't you do it on Shabbos? If it's not the first day. We mentioned that only the first day on Shabbos to do it. What about the other days? So, Amai, Tiltal Balma, it's just muktzah. And you can avoid the issue of muktzah by saying that you have to do it. It's muktzah because we said you don't have to do it. That's how it became muktzah. But, so say that you have to do it, and it's not muktzah. Validchi Shabbos, and let it do it on Shabbos. Take the lulav on Shabbos. Amarabba, The Abirin Arbar Mispishus Rabba. Yeah. Yitzi told me yesterday that he learned in a mimer that Rabba made three institutions. He made one institution that applied to three halachas. That you don't blow the shofar on Shabbos. You don't blow the shofar on Shabbos. You don't take the lulav on Shabbos, and you don't read the Megillah on Shabbos. And the reason is because you may carry it. But the interesting thing is that the word Rabbah, the name Rabbah, has the last letters. So shofar is the resh, lulav is the vase, and Megillah is the hey. Rabbah. Rabbah has, those are the three things that he stopped doing on Shabbos. He quotes from here. Who are they quoting this from? Lakuti Levi Yitzchak, and the Rebbe's father.
Give that man a trophy.
Okay. V'hainu time at the shofar, v'hainu time at the Megillah. Okay, yeah, we have to stop over here because we're going to get into a huge discussion. Let's leave it over here. We'll continue. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Okay.
Well done, Yitzi. You did good.